The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. Well, I found time to watch another episode of Space 1999.
All right. So what happened in this one?
Well, it was called the Immunity Syndrome.
Immunity Syndrome. Isn't that like a title of a...
Yeah, Star Trek episode, but, well, what are you going to do?
Well, they copied quite a bit.
Well, yeah, but they travel on a moon instead of a starship, so it's different. But anyway, so once again, they find a planet and they want to move to it. Well, not just yet. You know, they're investigating it. And for the most part, if they discover they can't stay there, at least they're going to replenish supplies and stuff.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure.
And so they're doing their surveys and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, a mysterious light attacks one of the crewmen and he goes nuts.
Oh, wow. Like it fried his bread or something.
Yeah, something. And, of course, Tony rushes in to save him.
And that doesn't go well, does it?
No, it doesn't. They struggle and fight, and the other one's gun goes off and kills the crewman. Yeah.
Oh, which one?
I don't know. Just one of the extras you never seen before.
You know, that's interesting. Do we have an actual count of how many people are living on Moon Base Alpha?
Yeah, I'm sure they've mentioned it, and I don't recall, but you know.
Well, it's a finite number.
Well, yeah, it would have to be.
Well, they sure killed a lot of extras, and they never seem to be lacking in people.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a substantial enough number that, you know, they got quite a few more to go through before they're pretty much out of crewmen, you know?
Yeah, but there's not a lot of space there.
Well, it may seem that way, but, you know, when they show them going through the tunnels and stuff, it's a rather large complex. So you just have to go with that, like it's this, you know, city-sized base on the moon.
All right, I guess so.
Yeah. So anyway, they're, something's wrong. And then the mysterious light hits Tony, and then he goes nuts.
How can anyone tell?
Well, I mean, I don't think he could be seen as being mentally ill.
Yeah, you're right. It's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, sort of. So anyway, he's going crazy, and they try to track him down, and oh no, what's wrong with Tony and all that. Eventually, I think he collapses into a coma. You think?
Well, look.
It didn't really captivate me all that.
Oh.
So they realize, oh no, something's wrong with Tony. Something terrible happened to the other guy. We need to get him back to Alpha so that the doctor can work on him and all that sort of stuff. Problem is, everything starts to break down. Koenig lands, and the Eagle's malfunctioning. Even the metal of the shuttle is corrupted and falling apart and everything. They're like, hey, what the hell's going on? Their communications ultimately begin to fail. Dr. Russell and Maya said, oh, we want to come and help. No, we don't know what's going on. And after a while, you know, they're trying to figure out what's going on. But then one of the crewmen eats one of the fruits they've had there and dies from it because the fruit is poisonous.
Well, what an idiot. I mean, he's on an alien planet. He just grabs something because, I don't know, it looks like a juicy fruit. And then he just bites into it. Moron. I mean, you know, good riddance.
Well, you see, they had tested it already ahead of time and it was fine.
What?
Yeah. Probably some of the people even have already consumed it. But now, suddenly, it's all poison.
But how did that happen?
That's a good question, Lefty. But don't worry. The whole plot of the show will answer that.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess that's all right then. So, okay, I take it back. Maybe the guy's not too much of a moron, but certainly was just another crew member that we never saw before and we never will again.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, boy, they're baffled and befuddled and all that stuff. And of course, Dr. Russell and Maya, they want to get there because, you know, their boyfriends are down there. And, but, you know, Koenig said, no, don't. You'll be trapped like us. And, if we can't figure out how to escape, we're doomed. But at least the rest of Alpha will survive.
Oh, that's nice. He's really concerned about his crew.
Yeah, but mostly Dr. Russell.
Well, you know, that's his girl.
Yeah. So anyway, but suddenly, Maya or Dr. Russell or both, I forget who, remembered, hey, we've got a glider.
What?
Oh, yeah. They got this glider craft, that can piggyback off of an eagle and then land on the planet. And that way they don't have to, destroy, an eagle, by going to the planet and stuff like that.
Okay, but what about the glider? What if it becomes corroded and falls apart and they crash and die, you know?
Well, it turns out it's made out of carbon rather than the metal. And
well, that's convenient. Yeah. They never mentioned this before, right?
Yeah, well, it was probably in the garage somewhere. They brought it out of storage. I don't know what they were supposed to do with it under normal circumstances, but they had it. So that's how Maya and Dr. Russell get there.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, Dr. Russell's looking at Tony and trying to treat him and everything, but she's like, oh, my God, he's going to die if we don't get him off this planet.
Well, that's true of everybody, really.
Yeah, it is, because they got nothing to eat. Probably can't even drink the water at this point. But they do find this installation that some alien race left behind.
Oh, here we go. It's probably some buried treasure. They left a bunch of traps or something.
Nope, not quite. Turns out this is the remnants of a previous expedition that had also explored this planet.
Oh, so what happened to them?
Well, they're all dead.
What?
Yeah, well, the same thing that's happening to the Alpha crew happened to them. So eventually they get in there and they find the corpse of an old alien, and then they find these recordings he left behind explaining what happened. So they all encountered the mysterious light, and they went nuts and killed one another, stuff like that. It was just a mess.
Well, I imagine.
Yeah, so then there was just the last guy. However, before death is oncoming, you start to regain your sanity.
Oh, well, that's just horrible. I mean, you did all that horrible stuff, but right before you die, you're back to normal, just so you could be aware of your own death.
Yeah, it's kind of cruel and vindictive in that part of it. But anyway, the guy explains that the whole planet is alive. There's an entity there, and it sees them as invaders, and so it's causing all the problems to protect itself from them because it doesn't know who or what they are. He develops a suit to make himself, invulnerable to most of the effects that the planet can attack him with, which I guess its only pivotal point just happens to be this a little rock formation that has where the light comes out of.
So that's like the planet's eye, just that one little spot.
I don't know, I guess. So the guy was going to go do that, but the problem was he forgot to have a protective covering for his eyes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he got blasted with the light, went crazy, murdered some more of his crewmen and stuff, and now realizes when he's sane again that he makes his last recording before he dies and says, well, I tried, but I screwed up.
It's the most obvious thing. If the other people were going crazy because the light flashed them in the eyes, then you needed to cover your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, but he didn't think of that.
Oh, my God.
So anyway, the aliens all died, of course. And so Walter Koenig is like, let's take a look at this suit. So they open his closet, and there it is. And wouldn't you know it, it happens to fit him.
Wow, that's convenient.
Well, there's a lot of conveniences in, these shows, and you just got to go with it.
Yeah, all right.
So anyway, puts it on and realizes, hey, I'll cover my eyes.
Right.
Yes, and it worked.
Oh, did it?
Yes. So he goes and makes contact with the alien entity and realizes, oh my God, the whole planet is alive. And basically this is its immune system fighting off a strange foreign invader, I guess. Right?
Yeah. So that's that. It was all a misunderstanding.
Yeah, most things are, I suppose. And the alien entity says, oh, gee, well, I'm sorry about that. And Koenig's like, yeah, okay. So everything's fine now. The planet, the food and stuff won't kill them. The water's fine, all that good stuff. And they can send down an eagle to come rescue them so they can go back to Alpha.
Well, if the planet's fine and everything, then maybe they could just stay there.
Yeah, well, by the time they found this out, Alpha Base had already drifted too far from the planet, so it won't be able to maintain its gravity well or what have you, take orbit or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that was always sketchy about that.
Yeah, and if they don't hurry up and hop on the Eagle to get back, they'll be too far away to make it back. So yeah, they got to do that. So they had to give up the planet. But look, after discovering the whole planet is a living being, what if the living being has had enough of them and decides to wipe them out again, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. It's too bad because, you know, it had everything they needed, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But the planet could turn everything into poison at will and drive them nuts. So, yeah, it just wasn't going to work out.
No, it's a shame. Sometimes, you know, there's you want to move and you find a house that's just about perfect, but then, well, the neighborhood it's in, you know.
What do you say?
Well, you know.
Well, anyway, that's the deal with that episode of Space 1999.
Oh boy, well, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, especially since it's the last one.
What?
Yep. The next episode is the final episode of Space 1999. You're listening to the Mr. Nailsin Show here on RadioMisfits.com. And now it's time for the Bayou Crime Report. Louisiana man claims it was not a crime to throw food on his wife. Hey, I'm Red Neckerton, facing arrest for pelting his spouse with his lunch and a metal spoon. A Louisiana man offered police a novel legal take, claiming that it was not a crime to throw food on his wife. Investigators allege that a recent verbal argument between Willie Cook, 58, and his wife of 34 years turned violent when Cook, that's right, his name is Cook, began throwing food at her. Cook also allegedly threw a metal spoon, which hit the victim in the head. When cops arrived at the couple's Monroe home, they observed food on the master bed where the victim stated the incident took place. Additionally, a cop detected a small lump on the back of the victim's head. After being read his rights, Cook declared that it was not unlawful to shower one's spouse with food items. The analysis was rejected by police, and Cook was arrested for domestic abuse battery. Well, Cook spent 2 days in custody before posting the $500 bond on the misdemeanor charge. Well, it's a curious case. I don't know what he was basing it on, if it's like one of these things where, hey, it's between us, and if I want to throw food at my wife, I can, or something like that, or she's mine, I do what I want, something like that. I don't know. But had he not thrown the spoon and hit her in the head, causing a lump and all that razzmatazz, I don't know. Would much have been done about all this? Do you get arrested at food fights? I don't know, but yeah, throwing that spoon, that's practically a weapon right there. So, Willie, you done cooked your goose in this one. With the WWII Crime Report, I am Red Neckerton, reminding you, keep your goddamn holes clean.
The WWII Crime Report is a presentation of Nailsin Productions.
At the break of dawn in Gothic City, we find ourselves at the Red Light District nightclub, the Boiler Room, which greets the police and their captain, one hairy thighs, with a ghastly scene. All right, Sergeant Mahogany, what do we got?
Captain, it's like I described to you on the phone. Everybody in the club, from staff to guests, lay on the floor completely and utterly paralyzed. Well, we don't know how it was done, whether it was in the food, the drinks, perhaps even aerosolized gas. Which is why we were a bit hesitant to advance further until we were pretty sure the air was clear. And we're pretty certain of that now. And the only clue we've got is, well, the message the perpetrator left behind.
A message that was left for me. It's about time you got here, Bugman.
Hi, Chloe P. Bugman, usually we can hear your bugmobile from a mile away.
That's only when terror is required, Sergeant Mahogany. But I don't intend that for the good men and women of law enforcement. In this case, I also detected a need for caution, thus requiring stealth, so we cut off all sounds of the bugmobile and pulled up behind the boiler room in the back and sought entry through the kitchen.
Plus, I had to PB it. And so Bugman said there was a potty right next to the kitchen. And so I was able to dart in there before we came in to see what's going on.
Oh, Captain Thighs, allow me to introduce you to my colleague, the Critter. Oh, yeah, I gathered he was with you, since he's also dressed head to toe in tights.
Oh, man, these people all look sick, if not dead.
Well, they're not dead. They're just all completely and utterly paralyzed. We haven't noticed any injury or trauma, so we suspect some sort of chemical attack, possibly poisoned drinks or and that rendered them in this state. What an insidious means of torment! To imprison them within their own bodies, robbing them of any ability to move.
Oh, yeah, they're moving something, because a couple of them, I'm pretty sure, pooped their pants. Oh, poo-wee.
Oh, well, you gotta expect that. Without control of bodily functions, they're gonna, void their bowels.
Huh? No, I'm saying they pooped their pants.
Captain Thighs, there was talk of a message left for me. Yeah, that's right. We found the club manager with a cell phone duct taped to his chest. Keeps playing this video on a loop.
This is but the first strike against the Red boil, and his crying family. Soon, one by one, all my enemies will fall to my touch. And ultimately, the same will be true for you, Bugman. You too will feel the wrath and deathly cold touch of old man Winter.
Ew! Why does he talk through his teeth like that? He's got spit coming out of his mouth. That's disgusting. He must be retarded or something.
Whatever his affliction, Critter, his cruel act cannot go unpunished. So any idea who this guy is? He seems to really hate you, Bugman. Who the hell knows, Captain Thighs? Who can possibly explain the mind of evil? Probably some obsessive jealousy or some nonsense like that. But whatever the motivation, again, it is the Bugman who will bring this cold-hearted old man Winter to justice. Will Bugman indeed bring old man Winter to justice? Or will he too fall into the icy grip of old man Winter? Find out in the next exciting episode of Bugman.
Bugman was written, produced, and performed by me, Douglas Nailsin. Music came courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and other public domain sources.
Did the CIA find evidence that Adolf Hitler survived World War II and lived in Colombia? Perhaps, but maybe not. A previously released classified document from 1954 is making the rounds again on the internet after its release years ago. The document claims Adolf Hitler survived World War II and was living in South America. The document was the CIA's response to the allegations that Hitler was living in Colombia and had been for several years. In this document, the CIA responds to this explosive claim. The acting chief of the station, Caracas, released a document where he alleges that a trusted friend delivered information that a former SS trooper stated to him casually that Adolf Hitler was still alive and living in Colombia. The CIA document goes over the details of the claim that Hitler was still alive. Allegedly, an SS officer traveled from Caracas to Colombia to see Hitler once per month. The CIA later shot down these claims as Russian disinformation. This report analyzes a declassified CIA routing memo, HVCA 2592, from October 1955, concerning a field intelligence claim that Adolf Hitler survived World War II, lived in Colombia and later Argentina, and remained alive as late as 1955. The document centers around a photographic sighting and the testimony of a former German SS officer allegedly named Citroën. While sensational in nature, the CIA explicitly characterized the report as unverified and fantastic, forwarding it without any endorsement or conclusion. No evidence supporting the claim was validated. Nevertheless, internal routing shows the report was taken seriously enough to be circulated widely across Latin America field stations. The credibility issues with the report were as follows: that it was built entirely on second and third-hand hearsay. The CIA agent on record acknowledged they were not in a position to evaluate the claim and characterize it as fantastic. No technical analysis, corroborative testimony, or further investigative leads were documented. Just a circulated photo and a colorful anecdote. In the post-war years, particularly during the early Cold War, U.S. intelligence was saturated with leads on fugitive Nazis. Many of these were credible, like Eichmann's confirmed escape to Argentina, but others were wild and unsubstantiated. This period saw an epidemic of disinformation, especially from immigrant networks, opportunists, and hostile intelligence services looking to sow confusion. This case bears the classic fingerprints of a KGB active measure, a type of strategic deception operation designed not to win with facts, but to confuse, distract, and exhaust. Tactic? So rumor just credible enough to force CIA stations to divert time, funds, and personnel to investigate it. Strategic goal? Erode confidence in CIA intelligence gathering processes, clutter internal communication channels, and bog down field offices with phantom targets. Why Hitler? Few narratives are more captivating or disruptive than the idea that the most hunted man in modern history managed to escape justice. By keeping that ember alive, Soviet disinformation could play both on American guilt for potentially missing him and pride in hoping to be the ones to find him. Dissemination, by pushing the rumor through Latin America, intermediaries, immigrant Germans, and vaguely defined SS veterans, the Soviets could exploit post-war Nazi migration traits, many of which were real, thus giving the rumor a patina of plausibility. This technique mirrors other known Soviet operations, like the Operation Infection campaign falsely suggested the U.S. created AIDS. Forgeries placing Nazi war criminals in American employment to strain U.S.-European relations. Psychological operations targeted at West German and Latin American press using forged documents and whispered rumors. Rather than a revelation, this document should be read as an artifact of Cold War strategic psychological warfare. It represents not evidence of Hitler's survival, but evidence of how effectively rumor and myth were weaponized, turning intelligence agencies into unwitting actors in the geopolitical theater. The truth wasn't the target. The hunt itself was the point. Far from providing credible proof that Hitler escaped justice, this case exemplifies a Cold War-era disinformation trap. The document bears strong hallmarks of a Soviet active measure, likely intended to confuse, distract, and drain U.S. intelligence assets. The extensive internal processing of this dubious report by over a dozen personnel illustrates just how effective the Soviet deception campaign was. By activating latent fears and historical anxieties, the Soviets successfully caused the CIA to chase shadows. So, did Adolf Hitler escape World War II and live out his life in South America? Or was this all a carefully crafted phantom from the makings of the KGB? Perhaps, but maybe not.
You're listening to the Mr. Nailsin Show here on RadioMisfits.com. And now, from Nailsin Productions comes a space opera adventure like no other. Bubba Stargone and the Uranus Patrol!
Bubba, I'm right behind you.
Hey, come on, Lefty. I can see what's going on between you and Captain Snuff Stuff.
What? I mean, don't be ridiculous.
He totally busted a move on you, didn't he?
What?
Hey, look, to a certain extent, I understand. I mean, you walk that fine ass around in those tight pants. That poor bastard can't help himself, you know. But hey, don't sweat it. I trust you, Lefty. I trust you implicitly.
Oh, Bubba, listen,
Ah, shit. Now what? This is Dr. Hatfield. I'm putting the Edsel in a medical lockdown. We've got a dangerous predatory creature loose on the ship. Oh, man, what the hell? Hey, Booze, it's Bubba. Where in the hell could a predatory creature come from out here? Well, Bubba, it came from Texas.
Now, what the hell is all this about then?
Admiral, the doctor has activated a medical lockdown on the entire ship of the Edsel.
What the hell? Of all the times for this nonsense, what did he do? Found a rodent or some roaches? I mean, that's nothing to interrupt war plans. Get the doctor on the horn.
Right away, sir.
Well, Admiral Thing, this really complicates matters.
Yeah, no shit.
This is sick bay.
Yes, this is Admiral Thing, and I will speak to Dr. Hatfield immediately.
Well, I'm very sorry, but currently Dr. Hatfield is deeply involved in surgery in his attempt to repair and stitch up Deputy Tag's bleeding rectum.
Oh, dear God. Didn't need to hear that. Listen, as soon as he's free, he must call me immediately. It's of the most importance. That's an order.
Very well, sir.
Down. How long does it take to stitch up one's asshole?
Well, it depends on the amount of damage done to Deputy Tag's rectum. So surgery could take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour.
An hour? We don't have that kind of time. Butsy, get sick bay back online. I am going to order them to release the Edsel from this ridiculous medical lockdown.
Well, actually, sir, begging the Admiral's pardon, when it comes to medical lockdowns, that's a quarantine of the entire vessel, and only the chief medical officer can revoke it.
Well, that's just absurd. We're in the middle of a war, and I'm a Space Patrol high-ranking officer, and the highest-ranking officer on this vessel at the moment. I mean, who else would be in charge?
Well, normally that would be me, Thing.
Bubba, you need to get that idiot drunken doctor of yours to rescind his medical lockdown, quarantine order, whatever the hell it is, so we can get started on this mission.
Well, again, Admiral, sir, the only authority on this is Dr. Hatfield, unfortunately. Until he says otherwise, I'm afraid we're all stuck on the Edsel.
You're starting to get on my nerves, Captain Snuff Stuff. Do you idiots realize that we are minutes away from losing our window of possibility of striking a fatal blow to the Martian Armada? Should we not succeed, they will, well, maybe they won't be able to get hold of Dr. Cyrus Lear here, but they will certainly be able to take Saturn as a stellar beachhead and ultimately conquer Jupiter. Thus, for all intents and purposes, winning the war.
Ah, shit. Yeah, that's right.
Admiral Thing, I think the proper order for the doctor is to clear
all members, certainly of us and my crew, so that we can immediately evacuate to the Eureka and continue on with the mission while Bubba and his skeleton crew deal with this creature and still make the rendezvous. And for safety precautions, I recommend that Dr. Saurus Lear accompany us as well.
I don't know, stuff. It's kind of get pretty close to the wire. I mean, this stupid butthole surgery is going to take possibly an hour. And then he's got to do exams on all of us to make sure we don't have any weird parasites up our asses. I mean, good Lord! I don't know.
Why not just do both?
Both what?
Well, Bubba, we continue on to the rendezvous to pursue the mission. In the meantime, the crew hunts down this parasite, eliminates it, and of course, Dr. Hatfield can examine all of us to clear us to make sure that we, as well, are not infected. As we approach, well, the mission can continue as it was meant to go. And, well, I'm sure the Eureka's command staff can get along just fine without their captain for the purposes of this mission.
Well, I guess.
Well, sounds like a plan, Doc.
Well, wait a minute. That means, that I'll be aboard the Ansel right up to the moment that we detonate the explosives.
Well, yeah, thing, but remember, you told me there's a plan for us to escape through the teleport. Dr. Lear himself's going to set it up. Right, Doc?
Oh, yes, I'm working on it now.
Working on it?
Holy crap.
Oh, no. What else can go wrong? Will anything go right? Oh, well, we'll just have to wait and see and find out in the next exciting episode of Bubba Stargone and the Uranus Patrol.
Bubba Stargone and the Uranus Patrol is written and performed by me, Douglas Nailsin, with music provided by Kevin MacLeod and other public domain sources. The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin Show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @Mr. Nailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.